Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. This is Heather Nichols, and we're going to talk this week about leadership. I have learned so much about leadership, and leadership specifically, I want to talk about leadership in business. And it's been something that has really, I have just grown and grown and grown and grown around over the years. And there's always so much more. Anytime you're dealing with people, working with people, interacting with people, and desiring to empower them to function from what it is that they know, what it is that lights them up, what is fun for them, what they enjoy, what they're good at. It takes a lot of awareness, a lot of elegance, a lot of letting our barriers down and not having a lot of points of view so that you can actually really allow people to step up and step into their brilliance. And it's one of those things where I always say that the way that you learn to work with people and the way that you learn about leadership is by doing it. You got to get your hands wet, your hands dirty. And there's really no other way to actually really get the experience and the awareness that comes with interacting with people, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't over time and time again and time again and time again. And these are the types of things that actually really fascinate me. Things that I do just like lifelong, areas of lifelong growth, let's say, where I can just keep learning and keep expanding and keep evolving over my lifetime to actually get greater at whatever it is that I'm up to and whatever it is that I'm doing. To me, that's really what's fun for me. And I've learned so much about leadership and working with people from Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and Dane Here, who's also the co-creator of Access Consciousness, and Simone Milasas, who works with Access as well, and is also the founder of Joy of Business, which is a Access Consciousness specialty. The three of them run the company and are really brilliant in working with people. And I've learned so many different things from each of them in very, very different ways over the years. And Gary really sets the stage for so much of this because he is so different in how he's willing to function. He doesn't, and he owns and, sort of runs this massive multi-million dollar a year company and worldwide, and many hundreds of employees, and really empowers people so dynamically to have awareness. And one of the things that really struck me, because I work with Access Consciousness, as well as running my business with the tools of Access Consciousness and Joy of Business, really struck me years ago when I was hired to do a particular job in Access, and Simone said to me, "You're hired because of your awareness, and not because of what we want to teach you about how to do this job, or what we think the best way is for you to do this job. You're here because of your awareness." And that is a very different way of leading. It's a very different way of working with people. It's a very different way of having a staff and working with, allowing people to contribute to your business. And it acknowledges the brilliance of them. It acknowledges what they know. It acknowledges what they're aware of. It acknowledges their unique capacities and abilities. And it is not about you teaching them how to do the job that you've hired them to do. It's about them bringing whatever it is to life that you're asking them to work with. And so often people in those positions and people, like, I've seen this so many times with me and other people that work for Access Consciousness, as well as in my own business, is that when you give somebody the freedom to bring what it is that they know, they evolve with the company, with the projects, with all of the different creations. They really evolve over time with all of the different ways of being and working with things. And people are allowed in this very different way of leading and working with staff. They are allowed to evolve the company, evolve the business, evolve the creations, contribute new creations, and to do what's actually fun for them. One of the questions that I ask people when I hire them is, what do you enjoy? What's fun for you? That's one of the first things I want to know, because I would like to have people that are working with me enjoy what they're doing. If you hire somebody to do a job that they don't enjoy doing, they're not going to be invested in it. They're not going to probably stay for very long, and they're not going to give it what they would give it if it was something that really was fun for them and where they were actually invited to bring their own awareness, their own sense of possibility, really kind of have a sense of ownership of whatever it is that they're playing with and creating, and investment in it. And when you allow somebody to invest their energy, their awareness, their joy, their passion, whatever it is that they bring into what they're creating, they will stay and grow and expand. And they will gift you and your business so much more than if you try to control them into a certain way of working or getting a job done or whatever it may be. This way of being and of leading and of being with people is very out of control, which actually is such a great, that's such a beautiful gift that we can give, is the willingness to be out of control. And out of control doesn't mean that things just, you're just kind of like letting everything go and you're not going to care about anything and just everything can be a mess. That's havoc. There's a difference between chaos, which is more of out of control, and havoc. Havoc is where there's like, it's a level of disorder that is not generative and for the business and conducive to the growth of the business. It's very disorganized in a way that is not helpful, is not going to grow. It's going to shrink and diminish the business. Chaos is this beautiful sweet spot of where you're willing to be out of control. You're willing to let people fail, actually. And I'll talk more about that in a moment, but you're willing to have, you're willing to not know what's going on at all times. You're willing to trust other people's awareness. You're willing to see, how things evolve. And for me, with chaos, there's this underlying energy of really trusting me and my awareness, and trusting the universe, trusting my business, trusting the future that I know that we're creating, and having such a dynamic trust in that process that I go to the energy of it. I go to my awareness of, okay, is this working or is it not? You can say the energy of it. You could say your intuition, however you want to look at it. Is this going to work? And then you look at yes, no, yes. Okay, it's going to work. I don't know how. I can't see how, but I know to sit back right now, sit on my hands, shut my mouth, and trust and see what this person is going to do. And then there are times where it's actually appropriate and required to step in and say, hey, we need a course correction here. We need to adjust things a little bit, but you can do that by still including people in the process, going, hey, I'm aware that we need some sort of a adjustment here on where things are going or how they're being done. What do you know about that? What is your awareness of that? And they may not have any awareness of that. And then you can as the entrepreneur, if you are the entrepreneur, if you're the quote unquote owner of the business, if you're the one that's owned by the business is a more appropriate way to say it. As that person, as the leader, then you can also step in and redirect and intervene and change things around and move people around and bring new energies and things like that. And beware of doing that too soon. When you're inviting people to bring their awareness to the table, what it is that they know, what it is that they enjoy, what it is that lights them up, that's a very different, very unique invitation. And sometimes people don't really know what to do with it. It's such a different way of functioning. And so you have to be aware of that to begin. And this may be so new for you that you don't really know what to do with it. And then it's like, this is where the beauty of vulnerability comes in. And you can just say, hey, I don't really know exactly like what's going on here. I'd love to see this move. And it's really important to me to empower you to bring your awareness and what it is that you know. That's the most valuable thing here. And that has to be true as well. Like you can't, if you say that and it's not actually true, you need to revisit that and see if that is actually a priority for you. And if it is, then look at what needs to change in order for you to be congruent with that. Because for a lot of people, it sounds like a great idea. It seems like a great idea. It is a great idea. But when the rubber meets the road and you need to actually sit back, let go of control and let things move and see how people show up, we tend to, want to jump in and manage and micromanage things. And so what's possible beyond that? And so when you allow people to bring what it is that they know, one of the key elements of this is that you've got to actually allow them to fail. And we recently brought 8 interns on to my business. I have a staff of, now we have 13. We tripled the staff. We were down to, I think, 4 people on the staff and then plus me, so 5. And then we brought in 8 new interns. And so that was a really big dose of chaos that we instilled into the business by bringing so many people in. And one of the things that I did, because we took time to set it up, and it took longer than we even thought and kind of wanted, longer than I wanted, in order to get it going and moving. But it was so worth the wait and the process, because what I wanted to do is, I've had interns before, and I know that when you bring interns into a business, it increases the workload for everybody. And so I wanted to be sure that we could handle that. And I also wasn't interested in increasing my workload really dynamically. Part of what I was doing is actually bringing in people that could support other growth areas that we were asking for and that I was asking for, and also support the existing team to actually grow into a leadership position and in working with the interns. And so it is, and we're in the middle of it now. And this to me is a huge part of leadership and staff development and working with people, is this zooming out energy that is very valuable as a leader. Because if you stay down in the details of things, you cannot empower other people to step up and lead with what they know. And the beauty of this is when you let people bring what they know, they bring gifts that you don't even know exist. You would never even consider that those things are possible, because all you know is what you know. So inviting new people and different people to bring new awareness and different awareness, it creates this beautiful diversification in the business of the talents and the capacities and the awareness and the futures that can be created. And those people come and they bring that, and everybody in my estimation really kind of has to zoom out more. So you take a more eagle eye, bird's eye view on everything as you grow and expand into your leadership capacities and your leadership potential. And as you, so I always call it zooming out. So I zoom out by taking a bigger bird's eye view on everything. You're able to see more. You're not down in the details of everything. You're not doing as much of the detail work, but you're seeing it. You have an awareness of it. And this is where you have to trust your intuition, your gut, your energetic awareness, whatever you want to call it. As you zoom out and you look and you see, you'll be able to see where things can be changed and tweaked, where certain, new inputs or energies can be inserted into the process, where something needs to be taken out or taken away, how to rearrange things. And you have to be willing to do that without, you can't, this is another huge aspect of this, is you really can't need people to like you. But the funny thing is, and the irony is that if you're interested in empowering people, they will like you. And because most people aren't used to be treated like that. So it's a very interesting dynamic, but you cannot need people to like you. If you're going to be a leader, you just, that if that's a desire and a need that you have, it will be the thing that you prioritize, and you will like cut yourself off from being able to institute what needs to be brought into the business, what needs to occur in order for the growth and the expansion and all the new creative possibilities to flourish. So you've got to be willing to be the bad guy, the good guy, the loved, the hated, the, misunderstood, and everything else that I'm not saying. And particularly with your staff. And then of course, with everybody, as when we step into leadership, we become more visible in the world as well. So you have to, be willing to have that from the world around you as well. But the payoff is that you get to have this incredible expansiveness of creation. And one of the things that I look at, and this has been from many conversations with Gary Douglas over the years, is just he's contributed so much to me in this way. Because one of the things that he says is expect nothing and be grateful for everything. So expect nothing from the people that work with you. Don't expect anything of them, and be grateful for what they do contribute. When you expect something of somebody, you set up a future where you have to reject each other. Basically, rejection, separation, and judgment are an inherent part of the future when you have expectations and projections about anybody and anything. So if you hire somebody with expectations, they have to fight against that. And there will be, later on down the road, at some point, there will probably be some tension, some rejection, separation, judgment down the road. Because when you expect something, we all know how it feels to be expected to do something, even if it's something that we would like to do, that we've agreed to do. When we're expected to do it, that is not fun. And it sort of makes you want to push against whoever it is that's expecting you to do things and projecting things on you. When you don't have that, you have gratitude. You can't have, because all of those things, projections, expectations, separations, judgments, and rejections, those are all forms of judgment. And anytime you have judgment, you cannot have gratitude. When you have gratitude for the people that work with you, oh my goodness, it is so incredible what that creates. That doesn't mean that they get to walk all over you. They get to never do anything. They get to, it doesn't mean that they just have free reign to just, show up and never work or whatever. But it's more likely to empower people to give way more than they would otherwise, and for you to receive way more than you would otherwise, and for there to be a mutual gifting and receiving when there's gratitude there. Gratitude is an energy that creates a lot of magic. And we all know, again, what it's like to have people be grateful for us. And that is a massive gift. And so when we have that, it's like we want to give more. We want to show up as our best. We want to bring and deliver our very best to whatever it is that we're contributing to. And those people that don't want to do that, those people that are more takers, let's say, that are more interested in what they can get from you, they'll fall by the wayside. They'll go away, or you can send them away. But either way, they won't stick around, because either they can't handle it, or you're not willing to have the dead weight. You're not willing to carry the dead weight of that. And that's where, you have to step into that. You have to really be in that. You have to be willing to be loved, hated, and everything in between, in order to make the choices that are going to create the future of the business, what you know, and what you know is also going to empower the other people that are working together. One aspect of this is also, that I just mentioned, is the creation of the future. And if you don't know where you're going in the business with your, whatever it is that you're leading, if you don't have an energetic sense of where you're going, you cannot lead, and nobody can contribute to what it is that you're asking for, because they don't have clarity, and neither do you. So one of the things that we did when we set up the internship was, and this is part of what took some time, was actually to say, okay, this is where we're going in this business. Like, I was like, this is what I would like to see. This is what I am asking for. And there's the future of the world that I'd like to contribute to and create. And then there's the future of just the actual, like, the business. There's the future of the business, 5 years, 20 years, 50 years, 500 years. I mean, what if you looked at a 500-year future? Even though nobody here today will be necessarily part of that, what if your business could keep going and going and going, and you looked to that future? And it creates something very different when you do. And if you're clear on the energies of the future that you would like to create, and not the specifics, not the visualization of it, not the, these are the exact numbers we need to see or whatever, but the energy of what you would like to have. It's like, this is how I'd like to feel every day when I'm at work, when I'm working with people, this is what I like to be doing. This is how I'd like to be moving, in my life, in the world, whatever it may be. And this is the kind of profit we'd like to have, not getting too narrow and too focused on the numbers, but really with also an invitation for the money to show up and the business to be profitable. As you start to get clear on all of those different aspects, then everything, all of those, whatever matches those energies, that's what you can actually bring in and move with. And so when we were hiring the interns, I went, okay, hold on a second. Let's get clear on what we're doing. And let me get clear on what I'm asking for, the different types of projects that I would like to see happening, how I would like the growth of those to be moving, what I would like to be doing with my time. So when I looked at what I would like to be doing with my time, it was, not the day-to-day running of the business. It was facilitating and, doing private work with people, and, and then creating the content, like podcasts and videos, which I do a lot of. But that's the content that I need to create. But there's other content that can be created by other people, that can be extrapolated from what I do create, the content that I do create, because there is a lot of content. So knowing what you can work with and knowing what other people can work with, and then empowering them to know how that's going to work, how that fits into the business and the future and all of that. So I sat down and I did a lot of writing around, this is what I'd like to see. This is the future. And here's some specifics. And then we kind of got clear on, like, well, we're going to have 2 different types of internships. And one, it's more about, like, kind of growing there's like a marketing side, which is more like general, just growing the business, growing the reach, expanding the reach of like getting all that amazing content out into the world more. And then another side of, like, really instituting the day-to-day of all the classes and all the events and training people with some of our systems, and then allowing them to bring their brilliance to that. And so we created these 2 different internships, and then got clear even again, like, here's the systems, here's the process. Like, there are some things that we need to train people in so they can engage with the systems of the business. And then, what can we create that allows this beautiful container of this business to grow as these amazing people bring their awareness and their gifts and their talents and their capacities to the table. And also knowing that not everybody's going to do that, and not having the expectation. So it's like we set it all up in this really beautiful, clear way. We communicated a lot of that to them and shared that with them in the beginning, and gave them some, specific training, and then some more energetic training. And then it's like, okay, guys, like, let's create, let's go, now what would you like to bring? Now, what do you know? Now, how about if you lead this project and you let us know what you need? We're here to support you. We're here, taking the bird's eye view, and you let us know what you need. Or you work on creating some new content, and you let us know what you need, and we'll let you know if it works also, for the business and the branding and all of that. So it's this beautiful play of having our eyes on the vision, the long game, the future that we're creating, the energetic awareness of it without the need for it to show up in a specific way, which allows for this invitation for it to show up in a very dynamic way. And that is beyond any of our expectations or anything that any of us know right now. Bringing new people in to contribute their awareness, and hiring them really from the energy of it all. It's like, well, this person kind of pops as a match for this, so let's see what that, and then knowing, like, for me, I'm like, all of them could do absolutely nothing, and that would be okay. Like, I'm not relying on them. I'm not expecting them. I'm empowering them and inviting them. And I also stay present I'm not checking out. So, part of my ask as a leader and with this business was, okay, I would like to really be stepping into more, where my time is used way more for facilitation, mostly facilitation of all types, classes and privates. And then, I'm also willing to work, and so you can't just bring people in and then be like, bye, I'm present, I'm energetically present. And when I know I need to be more involved, I get more involved. And when I know I need to, or I can just kind of take more space and sit back more and let, the existing team work with the interns and empower them to know what they know, then we do that. And one of the things that we've instituted is also, meeting with the core team, who are leading some of these pieces, so that I can work with them on leading and help them to know what they know about this, And so it's this beautiful, like, constant zooming out of what it is that we're looking at, what we're aware of, keeping our big, huge bird's eye view, which is a real muscle. There's a real muscle that you develop with that as a leader. And when you're playing with a lot of different people and a lot of different projects, you have to go to the energy of it, because otherwise you will micromanage. In any business, you have to go to if you don't, energy isn't so much your language. Maybe it's more your gut feeling or your intuition. But when you're managing that many people and projects and you're present with all of that, your gut, your intuition, your knowing, your whatever you want to call it, is so critical, because otherwise you're going to constantly be trying to control everything. And when you try to control everything, you diminish your life, your health, your future, your money flows, all of it, your happiness. And you also diminish what your team can bring, what your business can create with those people and what they can create with the business. It's such, I mean, I feel like I could just keep talking for days because this is a huge topic and it's so juicy and so potent and so rewarding to empower people to know that they know and they have a unique gift to bring. And when we do that, it creates our world as greater, it creates the future as greater. And sometimes it's just not a good fit. And you find that out and you're like, great, okay, cool. So you go your way, I'll go my way. We're gonna part ways now. And sometimes that's absolutely what's required to change the energy of a business and maybe the team or whatever. But it's this space of constantly being curious about it, being in the question and being clear on the future that you're creating. So, and having the clarity with the people that you work with, and that invitation for them to be empowered to show up and to explore their awareness. And to me, it's like when I look at the internship program that we have right now, I'm so interested in what this creates way into the future for the world and for consciousness, way more than I am what it creates in my business. It's kind of like, well, let's do this experiment. We will empower them to the best of our ability. We will give them everything that we can give them to, train them and give them so many tools and, mostly empower them to know that they know. And all of us in the process, it's not about anybody being less than. We all get to engage in this process together. And what I know for sure is that everybody will have more awareness at the end of it. And that's what I'm going for, is like everybody will have more awareness of what works, what doesn't, what's fun, what's not, how to create something even greater in the future. And some of them may stay on and work as part of the team, and some maybe not, or maybe none of them, who knows. But it's not about an agenda. It's about, I really value the tools of the Joy of Business and Access Consciousness and all the tools that I bring that allow me to do business in such a different way and to lead from such a different space that is totally about empowering people to create. That's what I am interested in, is empowering people to create and to know that they can create anything. And if my business and me and my team can contribute to them in that way, then the world is a greater place. And after 3 months, they can go on their way. Maybe we never speak again, maybe we do, but they can go on their way and they will have more awareness, and how they can show up in the world in the future is totally different as a result of it. So that to me is that's the long game of it all, of how I lead, of playing with staff and interns, and really like eyes on the prize, eyes on the prize of the energy of the future that you are asking for, without the specifics of it, without the need for it to show up in a certain way, but the willingness to receive far greater than what you think is possible. And if you're willing to receive far greater, and you're willing to empower people to contribute to that and to you and you to them, it will be far greater. Your business, your future will, and so will all of you, be far greater than otherwise. So I hope this was a contribution. So much fun to jam about this stuff. And this is actually, a lot of this I've learned also from facilitating the Business Done Different class, which is a Joy of Business masterclass. And I always have those happening, at various times throughout the year. There's one coming up in May 2024 online. And if you're seeing this after that, you can just look on my calendar and see where else they may fall. It's just been so incredible over the years to facilitate these conversations and to learn about my own, from my own process of working with people, and just keep going and keep going. And there are moments that are so frustrating and so annoying, and you don't want to handle it, and you don't want to have to deal with people. And of course, that's just part of the deal. And if we use the tools and these spaces of empowerment and no expectation and gratitude and, being clear and all of that to go in the direction of the future that we're asking for. It's always going to be greater no matter what. Even if in the moment it feels sticky, your future will be greater as a result of it. So thank you so much for being here and being curious about this. And I will see you sometime later on. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.